Young Tatem Flikkema calls worshipers to church. The Manhattan Christian Reformed Church has served the spiritual needs of its community for 120 years.
A main part of their life was their faith in Christ and that they wanted to be together in a church.
Members of the congregation file in to celebrate Palm Sunday. Many are descendants of the early Dutch settlers who founded Manhattan Christian.
It was a dream, a top priority of our ancestors.
The preacher that was here at that time felt that a church like this would be very God-glorifying.
Charlie Kim and Rose Brower are farmers, neighbors, and lifelong members of the church.
We both live in the same places where we were born. We've been neighbors our whole lives.
Pastor Tim Couperus is of Dutch heritage himself.
They spoke Dutch in the congregation in this space until 1940.
But he stresses that his church is welcome to everyone. As the community has grown, many members aren't Dutch at all.
We invite people, because we want people to be part of this community.
When settlers from the Netherlands arrived in the 1890s, some attended a Presbyterian church, but they missed the faith they were born into.
Turn of the century, 1900s, they began to formulate that church, and then in 1903, it became officially Manhattan Christian Reformed Church.
Reverend J. Vandermeer wanted a church that would serve the community into the future.
In that time, the worshiping body, 100, 150, the space is made for 600 people. And so the reality is that he had a grand vision.
When it was completed in 1910, the total cost was $25,000. That was a lot of money. That didn't go over well with the first settlers.
It goes way over budget.
The end result, beautiful woodwork, magnificent decorative tin ceilings. Many thought it was just too extravagant.
Did he have approval to buy these things? That's the myth, we're not sure. But long story short is not long after this place is constructed, a couple years, he's out.
But the congregants had a church with imported stained glass windows with biblical phrases in Dutch.
The church had this debt carried over until 1940s.
But that pioneer minister was proved right with time. The church did fill, so much that 3 daughter churches were built in Gallatin County to accommodate growth.
He had big plans, he had great hopes, and he had trust that would happen with this church, and it did.
It's a priority that we keep it up, the building, to give God the glory for what He's done for us.
Charlie says it's amazing to think back how much care and skill went into building the church.
Because you didn't have the cranes, the big equipment of today to do that. That was block and tackle to lift big wooden beams up, for the trusses. It was done by hand.
The entire floor is not only sloped, but it's curved in every direction. So every one of those pews are custom made for its location. And it creates an incredible acoustic.
But it isn't the building that brings the community to worship.
God is the center of everything you do, not just on Sunday.
Tatem Flikkema continues the faith gifted him from generations before him.
That was pretty important because they were involved in the Reformed Church in the Netherlands, so that their family life centered around the church also.
Daryl says as a farmer, his faith is renewed every day.
When you're out there tilling the ground, no matter where you look, you see what He has created and His handiwork and everything around us. So it really comes alive to you then.
Pastor Tim says today they are blessed by those generations ago who sought to create a space for the Spirit-filled worship of God.
Every time we gather on Sunday, it's why we do it on Sunday, is because it's a reminder that Christ arose on the first day of the week, and we celebrate that new life every single week.
It's Pastor Tim's Easter message from the Church on the Hill in Churchill. Kevin Mackey, NBC Montana.